When it comes to decluttering, you've probably heard about the onion method. It's a way for systematically going through your house layer by layer. It's a great tactic. It's what I recommend. But here's what I'm curious about today. When I got to the inside, to the middle of our onion, there was a surprise in there. And I have to believe that it's in the middle of your onion too. So let's talk about the onion method today, how it works, how we can improve it, and if there's a surprise inside your onion too. I don't know if I should actually say that. Does that sound weird? Anyways, okay. Surprise. Anyways, there's something good at the core of the onion. Maybe we should say it that way. There's something really good when you get through the layers to the core. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom. We have 4 kids, ages 6 through 11. We just got everybody back to school and getting into those grooves and those routines. And we've been minimalist for about 7 years now, and it makes every single area of our life better, including sending the kids back to school. I was just thinking, I'm like, every year we get better at it, and even compared to this time last year, we were like so far ahead of where we were. So by reducing the inventory in our homes, it just feels like it functions so much better. But if we're gonna reduce the inventory, how do we do that? And so we talk often about the onion method, and just like an onion has layers, most of us, the way we declutter our house is going layer by layer through it. And what we love about the onion method is that it's a little bit gentler approach. I sometimes laugh when I see these things like how to declutter your whole house in 2 weeks or even a month, because I think back over my process over the year that I spent decluttering our house, and I don't think I could have done it in 2 weeks unless we were like moving or there was some like big deadline we were working against. But I don't think we could have done it in 2 weeks or a month or even 3 months, because what happened through the process of going layer by layer through our house is that I gained confidence in myself, and we often joke that we build up our decluttering muscles. But what that means is that as we begin to get rid of stuff, that we build confidence that, oh yeah, I don't need it and I didn't miss it. And you can't experience that in just a week. It's something that happens over time. And so when we first started our first layer of our onion of decluttering our house, it was just stuff we weren't using. This was not difficult stuff. It was very clearly stuff that we hadn't used in the past year or 5 years. It was stuff we had moved from like one house to the next house to the next house. And so we were very obviously not using it. And I couldn't, when I thought ahead to the future, I'm like, I do not think we're gonna use this in the next year either. And then along in that layer too was garbage. And so that stuff is actually fairly easy to get rid of. For most of us, it's just logical. Like, yeah, why would I keep managing this inventory that we're clearly not using? And so that was a fairly easy layer, but it was very important because, like I said, it was building up my confidence in myself and my ability to declutter our house. And then we went down to the next layer, and this is where I got rid of the stuff that I was storing for someday that I thought we would need, but I didn't know for sure. It was also where I started getting rid of like the extra inventory, like all the extra sewing stuff. Oh, I love to sew. I used to make like all kinds of stuff in the past. But now that we have 4 kids and work and all that, I don't have time for sewing, and I didn't back then when I was doing this either. And so really coming to terms with this inventory of, yes, I enjoy sewing, but it's not the right season. So do I want to continue to look at these unfinished projects? That stressed me out a lot, seeing those unfinished projects. Do I want to continue to see them? Do I want to continue to manage them and organize them and keep track of them? And for myself, I was so desperate to find freedom, to get our home to a point where it was really easy to manage. And even though that stuff was kind of just sitting in storage, it was still inventory that I had to manage. It still hung over my head. The kids would still go in that closet once in a while where I had it and pull stuff out. Or Adeline would be like, oh, can I use this material for a project? And then before I knew it, the whole bins and bags were all over the floor, and now I had a mess to deal with again. And so that second layer was a little tougher. It was the stuff that I had spent money on. I thought maybe I would sometime get back to it, but really just being honest with myself that it's not the season that I'm in right now. So let's skip ahead now to the surprise or the core of the onion that was really fun to get to. And then we'll come back and talk about how we can get through the layers quicker. Like if you're like, I don't want it to take multiple years, like I really want to do this quicker, I have some tips for that as well. So what was so cool is that as we got to the core of our onion, as we went layer by layer through our house, we got rid of 80% of the inventory in our house. What was at the core was peace, a peaceful home, was self-confidence. I could not believe how much my self-confidence improved over the course of that year getting rid of stuff. I never would have put the two together of any kind of correlation, but I could not believe how my own personal self-confidence grew and how it freed up time for me to invest more in myself. And so just the other day we were at the bank and we were visiting with our banker. He's really cool. We've really enjoyed getting to know him, which I don't know if we always think that about bankers. I don't know. It was just really enjoyable. And he said, what I'm learning is that if I'm not growing and continuing to learn new things, I'm decaying or I'm shrinking. And then later that day, it was so ironic. I saw this quote and it says, in this world, you're either growing or you're dying. So get in motion and grow. And so what was so cool as I thought about it is that as we've decluttered our house and simplified it, I feel like it's freed up the bandwidth for us to continue growing and investing in ourselves. And we've partnered with Blinkist before. I'm so grateful to them for sponsoring today's video. And so I really think of Blinkist as like a growing platform, like as a self-improvement platform where we can invest in ourselves in these short little pieces and continue to grow and to learn new information and to improve ourselves. And so I've shared before about some of my favorite books to listen to on Blinkist are Atomic Habits, The 5-Second Rule. There's a couple parenting books that I really like. There's a book on intermittent fasting that I find very helpful. And on days when I am not feeling motivated, I'll listen to Atomic Habits or The 5-Second Rule and I'm like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go, right? But I need that boost. Like if I wake up in the morning and I'm not motivated and I go on Instagram, guess what? 10 minutes later, I'm still not motivated or I'm even less motivated. But if I say, okay, I'm just gonna listen to like a couple blinks, they call them blinks, where it's just the highlights of the book. And all of these books are boiled down to like 15 minutes or less. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to a couple blinks of The 5-Second Rule. Guess what? 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm still tired, but I can do this. I can pick one thing or two things that I'm gonna do today, and I know I'm gonna feel so much better. And so Blinkist is an app that's enjoyed by over 14 million users. You can use it online or offline. And like I said, they have thousands of titles available. And if you follow the link down below, you can try it out for 7 days for free. And then after that, it's 25% off the normal annual cost. So I'll put that link down below along with a list of my favorite books. And thank you, Blinkist, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so I think most of us are sold out on the onion method. I mean, it really just makes sense. Unless, like I said, you're moving and you're like, okay, rent a dumpster and like, you just have to get rid of tons of stuff. Really, I find that almost everyone I talk to uses this approach, the onion method, where we go layer by layer. So let's talk about a few tips of how we can make it go quicker or a little more smoothly. Tip number one is do not expect perfection. So on any given layer, we're not looking to make any space perfect, we're looking to make it function better. So just knowing that, yeah, I'll probably be making another pass through this area again, I think takes off some of the pressure. So do a layer, do a declutter, go ahead, free up some space, and then use it for a while and see how it functions. Does it feel better? Or do you feel like, yeah, I could go a little bit further? Tip number two is to use a quarantine bin. We talk about this a lot, but again, I mean, especially like if we're in a space like the kitchen, often the stuff in here we've spent quite a bit of money on. And so just to think of just donating it can be a little bit scary. So I love using the quarantine bin because we can make very quick decisions. I can literally open a drawer and say, okay, I have 6 spatulas. I know I haven't used all of these at any given time. So I'm gonna throw 4 into the quarantine bin and I'm just gonna try out having 2. And so again, we can make very quick, like literally hold up all your spatulas, take out a few and throw them in the bin. So I love that about the quarantine bin. We make quick decisions and then you can revisit the bin in 3 to 6 months and see if you actually missed any of it. Honestly, what I hear from everyone is that you like never pull anything out of the quarantine bin, and that's been my experience too, but it's there. So if you need to pull something back out, you can. And then lastly, keep the end goal in mind. What is your reasoning for decluttering your house? Like I said, I felt like there was this prize at the middle. It reminds me of those, like, what are those eggs, the Kinder eggs or whatever, where kids open them and there's like, oh, there's a prize. I feel like there's a prize in the middle of your onion too, and I feel like if we can keep our eye on that prize and say, I'm gonna have more time, I'm gonna have more freedom, I'm gonna have more peace of mind, I'm gonna have more confidence, keeping that in mind is gonna help make the tough decisions. Like I said, when I'm going through my sewing stuff and I'm like, I like to sew, I thought I would use this again. If I get rid of it and then I have time in the future, I'm gonna have to reacquire it. But when I looked at that stuff, all my sewing stuff, versus this idea of peace of mind and confidence and time to invest in myself, I realized that I didn't know that if when I got our house simplified and got to this point, would sewing still be my priority? Would sewing be what I would choose to do with my time? I wasn't 100% confident. Some of us are very confident of what we'll do with that extra time, and then you can keep that stuff more surely. But I didn't know. And here I am 7 years later, and I can tell you, I still love to sew, but I don't. And I still haven't had time for it, and I still haven't reacquired that stuff. So I am so glad that I passed it on back then. I donated it, I let other people make use of it, and that I have not, for the past 6 years, I have not had to look at one unfinished sewing project and feel that twang of guilt when I see it, right? No unfinished projects here. And that feels so good, and it is worth so much. I mean, we just can't even put a price on it. I kind of wish we could put a price on it, because then I feel like it'd be like very easy to, to compare, like peace of mind, $5,000, the scraps of material I was saving, like $50. Well, that makes it an easy decision, right? So I don't know, maybe I should just start putting price tags on this stuff. But in all seriousness, I want to let you know that you're on the right track. If you've been going layer through your house, you're on the right track. Keep your eyes out for the areas that still aren't functioning well. Usually if an area is not functioning well, it's because there's still too much inventory, and just keep going layer by layer, and you're gonna get to the surprise in the middle too. It is gonna be so good, and you are gonna be so glad that you did it. All right, well, I'm gonna stop talking so you can get to work, but I love you. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.